Hi, Assalamualaikum to Madam. My name is Ridzuan Zakaria, student ID 2030989201. I'm from BA1194B and now I will explain about documentary letter of credit. Hi, my name is Ridzuan Zakaria and now I want to tell about the documentary letter of credit. It's part of the finance in international trade. So I will explain about the definition of LC, characteristic of LC, type of LC, and the diagram sample of LC. So all the information given, I refer to the textbook Finance of International Trade written by Muhammad Sayyidi Mat Saleh. So what is the LC? LC is a promise by a bank on behalf of the buyer to pay the seller a specific sum in the agreed currency, provided that the seller must submit the required document by a predetermined deadline. So I will go to the characteristics and features of LC. First one is negotiability. A letter of credit is a transactional deal. So in order to be negotiable, a letter of credit should include an unconditional promise of payment upon demand or at a particular point of time. Second, revocability. A letter of credit can be revocable or irrevocable. Since a revocable letter of credit cannot be confirmed, the duty to pay can be revoked at any point of time. Third one, transfer and assignment. A letter of credit can be transferred. Also, the beneficiary has the right to transfer or assign the LC. Last one, site and time draft. The beneficiary will only receive the payment upon maturity of letter of credit for issuing the bank when he present all the draft and the necessary document. So I will go to the type of LC. First one is revocable credit. LC can be modified or cancelled by either issuer bank at any time without notice or consent from the beneficiary. Second, irrevocable confirmation credit. This cannot be modified or cancelled without the consent of all parties. So not only that, LC have a special type of LC. First one, revolving LC. Revolving LC is establish one credit line to cover all the shipment the same of type of goods. This type of LC can be revolving in relation of time and value. Second one, red clause LC. This is another form of overdraft or pre-shipment loan granted to the exporter, granted by the importer. Third one, transferable LC. Transferable LC is of give the original benefit to the right to the past benefit of LC in the whole part in the third party or more than one of the other beneficiaries. And back-to-back LC. Back-to-back LC is all counters LC. It refers to LC. Another one, standby LC. Standby LC basically is an intent to cover a non-performance default situation instead of a performance situation, as we are the type of LC. So now this is a sample of LC. So let's go to the next part. So clear of my explanation. So let's go to the next part. Here we go. Now we go to the parties that involved in LC. First, applicant, person who requests his bank to issue a letter of credit. Second, beneficiary, basically the seller who receives his payment under the process. Third, the issuing bank, the bank that is responsible for issuing the letter of credit at the request of the buyer. Fourth, advising bank, bank that is responsible for the transfer of document to issuing the bank on behalf of the exporter. Fifth, confirming bank, bank that provides an additional guarantee to the undertaken in issuing bank. Sixth, second beneficiary, one who can represent the original beneficiary in their absence. Seven, the reimbursing bank, bank that who the paying account is set up by the issuing bank. And last, negotiating bank, bank that negotiate the document related to the LC submitted by exporter. Hi, welcome back. We're coming to discuss where to get and how to apply the documentary letter of credit. You will most likely need to work with international trade department, small bank and credit union who can often refer to somebody who can accommodate your needs. You can apply for your bank. They will getting at all the details and decide who to offer at the LC. The bank will decide on the cost. You can expect some percentage to the amount. It depends on your credit history. Things to consider before getting LC. First, submit all documents and check complaints. Second, the issuing bank should be stability, robust reputation, and have the strength to honor the LC. Settle the cost bearing. According to the exporter, will escalate the cost of recovery. So let's go to the next part. Here we go. Hi, welcome back. So we go to when the documentary letter of credit is applicable. So, or we call it how the documentary letter of credit is work. Before using the documentary letter of credit, the exporter or importer must apply to the bank. They must have document required letter of credit. So what is a document required of the letter of credit? So this is a document required letter of credit. Now we go to the letter of credit process. I go to quite summary so because it's too long. Okay, first, step 1, issuing of LC. After the parties to the trade agrees on the contract, the importer apply to the issuing bank to issue an LC. So the LC will sent by the issuing bank to advising bank, generally based on the important country or even the exporter bank. The advising bank verify the authenticity to LC and forward it to the exporter. Step 2, shipping of goods. After receipt of the LC, the exporter is expected to verify the same to their certification and initiate the goods shipping process. Step 3, providing document to the confirming bank. After the goods are shipped, the exporter present the document to the advising and confirming bank. And the last step, the settlement of payment for importer and the possession of goods. The issuing bank verify the document and obtain payment from the importer. It send document to the importer, who use them to get the possession of the shipped goods. So, I will go to the example of the LC. This is for transferable LC. So this is go back to back LC. And this is a quite summary of letter of credit process. There are advantages and disadvantages of documentary letter of credit in international trade. So the advantages of LC is for both parties, for the seller and for the buyer. For the seller, he does not have to worry about the financial standing of the buyer and exchange control regulation because the bank guarantees for the payment. For the buyer, he did not need to pay his import to advance. The ability to issue the LC will increase that the financial standing of the buyer in the eyes of the seller. Otherwise, they have a disadvantages of LC. For the seller is exposed to the risk of document being rejected due to discrepancies. Certain LC can be cancelled or amended without his consent. So for the buyer, there are additional costs to open the LC. Certain LC cannot be cancelled or amended. So thank you for my explanation about when the documentary letter of credit is applicable. Thank you. Hi, welcome back. Now we go to why exporter and importer using this document. LC is beneficial for both the parties as assures that the seller that he will receive his fund upon the full payment of terms. This is benefit for importer. that's all the reason of using LC in an international trade. So let's go to the next part. Thank you. So that's all about my presentation about documentary letter of credit. I say detailed letter of credit, how LC work internationally, and when how to get the letter of credit. So thank you for listening, and you can contact me on the video given. Thank you.